Welcome back to the Road to a Million podcast. I'm with Anthony today, owner of Revive Auto Solutions in El Paso, Texas. Anthony started his business in 2021 and for the most part has been a solo operator, having a few part-time guys here and there. But we'll talk about all that on this week's episode. One thing I wanted to mention to everyone out there, I'm even speaking to myself here as I'm saying this, but let's just keep in mind that not everything has to be perfect when we put something out. Sometimes I do 20 podcast intros, and honestly, the first one was probably fine. You guys probably wouldn't be able to tell a difference, but we get in our heads about these things, and we want to let perfect be the enemy of best. That's oftentimes a saying that I like to live by, and we shouldn't. It's silly. Um, let's not let perfect be the enemy of best. And so we get a little bit better every single day. Let's focus on creating good content. We should obviously be slow to speak and watch what we're saying. We don't want to come across as prideful or arrogant, but at the same time, we also don't want to try to be a perfectionist because it's not possible. And I'm sure that all of us out there that are detailing for a living can understand that. I hope you guys enjoy and can find some kind of value in this week's episode. Don't forget you can use the timestamps in the description to skip ahead. And without further ado, let's get right into it. All right, today I'm with Anthony from Revive Auto Solutions in El Paso, Texas. Anthony, thanks for coming on the podcast.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
We were talking before we started recording a little bit about your social media, and when you reached out and I was checking out your social media, I agree with Chris. We were talking about Chris DiGiovanni was telling you that you're better than 90% of people, and I agree. I think your it's really good, man. Like it's definitely, and I know it's so much of it is just consistency. Like that's I think really what separates the people that are doing social media well is just having consistent uploads. But man, yeah, I thought when I looked at your account, I was like, man, this guy has really good content, and you seem genuine.
Yeah, I appreciate that, man. It's tough. I don't like being in front of the camera. And to be honest with you, when I first started out, I was like every other detailer, just posting pictures of cars. And they weren't good pictures of cars. They were blurry. They were out of focus. They did not look good. It wasn't until 2022 I went to MTE and they have Education Day before the event. And a guy by the name of Mike Toledo, he's a PDR guy. He gave like just badass like TED talk about social media and how you need to be in front of the camera and be the face of your business. And I got so motivated that day during lunch, I went out to the hotel and I made my first, in front of the camera video talking about what I'm doing here and how this is going to benefit my clients and me. And since then, I've been going hard at it. Well, in the beginning, I was going hard at it, man. I was going really good. I hired a photographer, videographer, because I didn't know what to do. I needed guidance in that realm. Um, so I started doing a lot of videos, and they're a lot of vanity videos, man. They weren't educational. If you look back to the very beginning, they're all just me wiping down a car, cool edits, and cool lighting, stuff like that. And I still do stuff like that from time to time. Like, I got a lot of compliments from both detailers and my clientele. They both liked it. But there was a group of people that were getting in my head, and I don't know if it was jealousy or what, but they're saying that I was promoting to other detailers doing videos like that. So that got in my head, and that's when my social media kind of like slowed down and dwindled. And you can tell there's a gap if you like look closely. There's a gap in there of me like not really posting that much. The quality of the content was not that great. That happened for about a year where I just wasn't like really into it, and I was trying to figure stuff out and how I can be different. And it wasn't until maybe about a year that I started putting my son on there on my social media. I never had him on there before. He was always in the garage with me scrubbing the floor. Like that's what he liked doing. He put on the ear muffs because it'd be loud in there, and he'd grab a wheel brush and he start scrubbing the floor, getting under the carts and stuff like that. That's what he liked doing. But I never showed him because I always wanted to give out that professional appearance, that a professional, look. And I felt that if I showed my son in there with me working on a client's car, it wouldn't come off as professional, and I wouldn't get that premium high end client that I was looking for. But honestly, I was totally wrong about that. Like that blew up as soon as I started posting my son. Like people loved it, man, and they love watching the videos. And now I think they love him more than they love me.
That's that genuineness, man. And man, we were
Yeah,
the same. We were the same way. It's like I started doing these videos where I interview my team members and I ask them questions, um, like what's the best detailing hack or um, what's the worst car to detail, and we just kind of be ourselves, And I think that everyone really enjoys those videos because you could still be professional and yet have fun and be because everyone's going to be humorous. Everyone, they're making jokes and everyone's laughing, and like there's nothing wrong with content like that.
yeah. It's actually I enjoyed it, and it was like a relief one night. They did that, and I saw people that liked it because I didn't have to be so professional all the time. Because you look, I got the uniform, I got the hat, the backdrop. I'm always, I think I got that from. Well, I was always like that growing up, but when I went into the military, that like, reinforced that even more. The professional appearance, perception is reality. Looking the part, being the part. So that always, that's always been with me. And like I said, it was a relief when people started commenting it. And when we go to car shows, people are like, "Hey, Little Revive." And we don't even know these people, man. We don't even know these people going to car shows. People are coming up to us saying hi, saying they like our content. So it's pretty cool, man. Like I said, it was a relief that I can breathe and just be myself and still have that professional, look.
Yeah, man, it's crazy how many like the silent majority. That's definitely a real thing on social media. Like, there's so many people that say the same thing to me. Oh, I watch all your content. I've seen every video, and I'm like, really? Because I've never seen you like or comment on any post,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
they still watch it though. And then it's the guys that they're it's the perception of them being the majority because they're commenting rude things and they're saying mean things to you. You're going to get detailers that watch your content, and that's not who we make content for. We don't make content for other detailers. And if you're going to comment something rude, you're just going to get blocked. I mean, my block list is probably 1,000 people at this point, and
wow.
I don't even entertain it and listen to it. And I mean, I'm more than welcome to people, other detailers that want to be polite and respectful and share their opinion on something, but it's the people that are just blatantly rude that I'm just not even going to give them the time of day because I'm not making content for them. I'm making content for my customers.
Yeah, that's tough too. In the beginning, when I was doing a lot of content, I would get a lot of that as well. And I never blocked. I blocked one guy. I did block one guy because he would comment on it was another detailer. It was like a burner account. It had to be in a burner account. It had to be another detailer because he knew detailing jargon, unless it was a really prosumer or a good DIY guy. But he was commenting a lot of crap and making a lot of rude comments. And there was one that just like it crossed the line, and I had to block him. Like cut him off. But yeah, I still let that get to me. I don't know how to turn that off, man. It still bothers me sometimes, and I won't post videos because I'm worried about what people are going to think, and I know I shouldn't do that, but I still to this day have a problem with that.
Yeah, but it's always nice when you get guys like Chris DiGiovanni that are telling you that you're doing a better job than 90% of people. And like I totally agree with them. Like genuinely do agree. So
Yeah,
keep
I
it up
appreciate
and
that, man. Yeah,
don't listen to those people that are saying otherwise. Um,
yeah,
so yeah, keep up the content, and I'd love to see more consistency out of it too, because what you've got is great.
appreciate that. Yeah, you'll see a lot more, man. We just recorded 3 videos in the past 3 days. So we've got a lot of cool stuff coming up.
Right on.
And we're actually doing one today. We're going to be doing a training at a car club. We're going to do some videos out there with the guy that bought a car from Gas Monkey Garage. It's like the Humvee. It's called El General. You can look it up. It's pretty popular. But we're going to be helping train his guys, his staff on how to properly detail their cars for events and stuff like that.
That's awesome. That'll be a
Yeah,
perfect piece of content to make.
yeah, for like authority, credibility, type of content.
Yeah, yeah, and educational too.
Right.
Now, tell me, how did you? So you were in the military. When did you go? Because I've got down here that you started in 2021. I know you told me that it was 4 years ago from February. So when did you go full time with detailing?
January 1st, 2021. I was before that. So before that, I was working for another. I left a auto reconditioning job during COVID, not because of COVID, because I was getting, I wasn't getting the bonuses I should have been getting. So I left and I didn't have a plan, but I knew I liked detailing. I was always hanging out in the detailing department. I was always intrigued by what they were doing in the detail department. I always felt I could do a better job than them. So when I left that company, like I said, I had no plan, but I knew I liked detailing. I knew I learned a lot of stuff working with that reconditioning company, and I felt I can take that and be of value to them. So at this time, I wasn't in the mindset of working for myself. I was in the mindset of still working for somebody else, and help them make more money by the skills that I learned from that reconditioning company. And like I said, COVID happened. The car count went down. They weren't hiring anybody. The third party dealership detailers, they cut them off and they went all internal. So I went to go work for. I found a local detailer that was hired me, and this was tough, man. He hired me, but he hired me at minimum wage, and minimum wage in El Paso is $7.50 an hour. So I went from making 75,000 as a market manager, area manager for this company to making 7.50 an hour. And I'm not gonna lie to you, man, it was tough getting up in the morning. And at that time, he was doing a lot of dirty detailing, but I wanted to do it to see if I could do it, if I would like it. And I found out real quick I didn't like it. I didn't like the cars he was doing. I
Hmm.
didn't like the work he was doing. I like being mobile. I like being out in the open and going from location to location, but I didn't like the dirty cars he was doing. So, me being the type of person I am, I'm really like, I want to know everything about. When I get into something, I jump in fully, and I want to be fully vested into it. So I started looking up training. I'm like, well, maybe if I take some training, this will help me out. Like that was my mindset too, man. Totally not business minded at all. Like training was my key to doing it on my own and making a lot of money. So I took a month and a half long training in California, Newport Beach, California, Dean King Training Academy. I was there for a month and a half. PDR, auto reconditioning, wheel repair, interior repair, rock chip repair, glass repair. And then after that, I got the bug, man. I wanted to do more training. So I took two more trainings that were a week long. So total a month of training before I actually went out on my own. But I finally, during that second training, it was with Rennie Doyle Detailing Success, where I got the, intestinal fortitude to be like, you know what, I can do this on my own and I'm going to do it on my own.
Hmm.
So January 1st is when I officially started Revive.
So you went in like just jumped right off the deep end. You were like, I'm gonna go straight from 750 an hour working for this other guy to going full time with my own thing.
Yeah, I mean, I felt like I had to, man, because I researched a lot of details in El Paso, man, and to me, he stood out the most. At that time, he was applying Ceramic Pro, ceramic coating. I'm like, damn, this dude's legit, because at that time, you had to take their training to be an official installer. So I'm like, well, he has training. He had to get trained for this. So he's a good guy. I still talk to him to this day. I'm not talking anything bad about him, but at that time, like he was not doing the cars I wanted to do, and it was just. too much for me, man. Like, man, I can be doing this on my own, doing one car a day, making more money than I am with him,
Hmm.
working 8, 10 hours a day, slaving out in the sun and being unhappy. Like I said, man, it was hard some days to wake up in the morning for 750 an hour.
So when you went out on your own, it easier to find less dirty, nicer vehicles to detail, or were you stuck detailing like similar types of vehicles at first?
Yeah, so I would say for about a good year and a half, I was still doing dirty vehicles, but I was doing them myself. And one of my mentors told me, like, you have to do those cars, man, to cut your teeth to learn. You have to, that's how you're going to learn. That's how you're going to get quicker doing those dirty cars. But he would tell me, like, don't post them though, because you don't want to be doing a bunch of those cars, do them here when they come up, as they come up. And so, yeah, I did them for about a year, year and a half, maybe. And to the point where I'm like, man, I'm not going to do these cars anymore. If I do, I'm just going to, give them a crazy price. And if they do it, then we'll do it. But now I have like two cars that I call one the chicken nugget mobile. They have 5 kids. And it's a mom mobile. It's a Edsel Denali, good friend of mine. They give me a lot of business. They have a European repair shop, so they give me a lot of work from their clientele.
Hmm.
But yeah, that's a chicken nugget mobile, and I'll probably find like a 6 piece chicken nugget in there every time I clean their car because, like I said, they got 5 kids, and then I have another family car that I do. Not as bad, but those are pretty much the only two that I do now that I would consider dirty cars.
Yeah, I think it's important what you said though, that when you went on your own for the first year and a half, you were still doing those dirty cars, because I think a lot of people want to get into this and go right into doing, the maintenance details on these nicer vehicles, but that's not the reality. The reality is those people, they already have existing detailers that they've trusted and they've used for many years.
Right.
When you're starting out, like I think for most people, you're going to have to start out with a little bit of a dirtier type of a vehicle.
No, definitely 100%. And like no one knows you. You're in obscurity, so you're taking any work you can at that time. And lucky for me, there weren't too many. Like I never had to break out an extractor. I don't even own an extractor. I do, the steam cleaning if it's needed. Um, I was never into the extracting, but I never had a car where I had to fully extract with hot water. I mean, I have the extractor head for my vacuum, but again, I mean, I did them to learn because you're gonna get those times when you get a client a client that has a clean car, but something happens. They kid spill something, and you got to know how to clean that. And if you just jump into clean cars, you're not gonna know how to properly clean it and take care of it and be able to take care of your client.
Yeah. Do you remember that first year? So you started in January, which is, typically a little bit of a slower season. Now I know it is warmer down there in El Paso. Man, you guys have some hot temperatures down there.
Yeah, it
So I'm
gets
not
pretty
sure you
warm
get
here.
quite
Yeah.
a yeah, I'm not sure if you have quite of a extreme of a winter. But do you remember what your like first few months, like what your sales looked like back then?
Yeah, so I don't remember the numbers, man. But if you want to talk numbers, I actually lost money the first year, so we can go into that later on. But I didn't make money the first year, and it was rough. I mean, starting off, I had work as soon as I finished my last training. The owner of that training company, he tagged me on a Facebook post, and it went on to my feed. And my son's the owner of my son's daycare, they have 5 family cars that they want to detail. They didn't know I was going to training for it to be a detailer, so they saw that like, oh, I want to book all my 5 cars with you, and then family and friends, which I don't have that much family in El Paso. They're all in California, but when I was training in California, I was doing my sister's car, my mom's car, brother-in-law's car, and a lot of friends out here I was doing. Um, and I was pretty busy for about 3 months, and then the word of mouth just gradually, diminished. And there was times I think, yeah, thinking it was weird because it should have been a busy time for me. But in around April, man, I don't even think I got one phone call that whole month. I wasn't really promoting myself. I had to Google my business back then. Well, I still have it, but that's pretty much what I had. I was I wasn't doing anything else, no type of marketing. Wasn't really posting that much on Instagram or Facebook. I think at that time I only had like 200 followers on Instagram, and they're all like just random people, no one local.
Hmm.
So it was rough, man.
So what
It was
changed?
pretty.
How'd you start getting business?
So I started doing that, promoting more. I started, like I said, I started doing. I'm trying to remember when I did it, man. I don't remember the month, but I started doing the social media more. That's when I hired the videographer, photographer, started getting more high quality videos. Um, Website. It was a website from a PDR company, and that helped me too. They were doing some SEO for me at the time. It wasn't great. I was paying a lot of money for it. I think I paid like 5,000 for the website, and I was paying, I think, $800 a month for them to do my Google, my business,
Dang.
and SEO, which SEO and my the website wasn't that great, man. It wasn't a detailed roadmap quality website. But they weren't I had that for maybe about a year, maybe a year and a half, to where I felt it wasn't, there's no return on investment on that. So I dropped them, and there was a time between dropping them and me getting Details Roadmap, probably maybe 6 months without a website.
Hmm.
And it was mainly just all word of mouth, friends and family still, people
Did you
finding
stay
me
busy?
yeah, I mean, I was always out there looking for work, you know. I wasn't at home like just twiddling my thumbs, like waiting for the phone to ring. I was out there, going to shops, going to body shops, introducing myself to dealerships. So like it wasn't out there. I mean, I wasn't at home just waiting, like I said, waiting for the phone to ring. I was out there trying to get work. Going to car shows, being active in the community, that helped me out a lot too. That got me my first like restorative detail. It was a '92 Porsche Carrera. He met me at a car show at the War Eagles Air Museum, and he's a big DIY guy, man. So he was hammering maybe with the questions, like he knew what he was talking about. And I think he was testing me to see what I knew. And about a month later, he called me. He's like, "Hey, man, I want you to come check out my Porsche Carrera. I just got it. It just came in from Florida. I want you to give me a quote." And I went and checked it out. We looked at it. We talked for about an hour, and we didn't talk about the car. We talked about just business and life. I was building that connection with him. And the next day, he called me. Like, "I want you to do my car. You're my guy." So that was like my first, restorative, you know, multi-step correction, ceramic coating on a car that I probably shouldn't had no business working on, man. That car, I underquoted it. It took me like 4 days to do.
What'd you quote it?
I think I quoted him $2,200, man, and
Hmm.
he haggled me down to 1,800. It was a multi-step correction, interior, exterior, ceramic coating. But it took me 4 days. We even took the Carrera logo off and had it repainted, and
Wow.
so I definitely lost money, but it was a good learning experience. And at that time, maybe I didn't lose that much money because it was still within that first year time frame where I'm still learning. And I mean, we all do that though, man. We all underquote. We all done that before, but again, that was like a learning lesson. I probably shouldn't have taken that job. There's a lot that could have went wrong with me taking on that job, and it could have been bad, but it ended up being good. He's still my client to this day. I do 4 Porsches for him. He's referred a lot of people to me. So, and whenever I go do his car, we have a good conversation. We talk about life and getting business. How's business doing? I know his wife, his kids. So that's a 3-year relationship now that I have with that client.
Yeah. Well, I think it's important, like what you said, that you were out there, getting business. You were out there looking for business. You weren't just sitting at home waiting for the phone to ring. Just moving, doing something, going out to car shows, meeting people at body shops. I mean, some days it's going to result in nothing, but then some days it's like you're surprised. You walk in and talk to someone, and they're like, "Oh man, like I've actually got someone that was in here. just looking for a detail. Like, let me connect you. You know.
Yeah, that's how it goes, man. I mean, from experience, that's how it goes. And then a lot would help me too. I started in my first year. I started doing aircraft, and that came from someone in my network that does aircraft out in Utah. He asked me if I want to do aircraft here at the FBOs, and like a lot of detailers, they are eager to get into aviation because they think it's so, it's going to bring so much money and this and that. So I got into aviation after I did my first plane. I don't know, rightfully so. I was kind of bragging about it. I was at a car show, and one of the guys asked me like, "Hey, how's business been?" I was bragging like, "Oh yeah, I did my first airplane, this and that." He's like, "Oh, that's cool, man. You should check out the War Eagles Air Museum. They have a collection of warbirds." I'm like, "I never even heard of this place." He's like, "Well, one of the volunteers is going to be here today at the car show. I'll introduce you to him." So he introduced me to him. We hit it off. We talked for about an hour. We hung out at the car show, and he put in a good word for me with the director. And I went out there on a Friday afternoon to go introduce myself, and not to sell anything, just to you know introduce myself. If you're needing anything, I'm here to help you out.
Hmm.
Not selling, just here to help. And heard nothing back from him, so I went back 2 weeks later, talked again, and about a month later, he called me. He's like, "Hey, we have a Rolls Royce. If you can make this look good, we'll give you a shot with some of our planes." So I went there and I spent the whole day detailing a Rolls Royce. And again, it took me all day. Um, I made no money because it was like a demo.
Hmm.
And after that, like the whole staff was just blown away. They were blown away by how it looked. It never looked that good. We got water spots off of it. So I started getting work from the museum. When I got work from the museum, I did a press release with a lady that does, press releases, and I got into the local news. So that helped out a little bit too, like going to car shows, talking to people, letting people know what you're doing, and then I got put in the news. But every year since I've been in business, I've been on the news at least once a year for
Wow.
the past 4 years. Yeah, for stuff I've been doing. I even got a congressional recognition from my local congresswoman last year for a
Con-
project that I was on.
Congratulations on that. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So I see you do planes. When you're talking about that, how many, like, what percentage of your jobs today is aviation versus automotive?
Yeah, it's very little because I'm not trying to be an aviation detailer. Um, I do the work for the museum because I like being there. I like helping out. Um, I haven't done a plane for them in a few months. That's all volunteer work. I do have a client with two smaller planes that I do monthly, and then from that contact in Utah, maybe, man, couple every few months I'll get. And these are charter planes. They're really expensive planes, $25 million planes. So it's not that much. But again, I'm not really promoting it either. Like I really don't want to do it. The insurance is really expensive with it. So it's not something that I want to be known as. I'll do it for my clients that I've had before,
Mhm.
but it's just a very, very, very small part of the business. I tell guys that want to get in aviation, like, man, it's not what you think it is. It's cool, man. It's a lot of what do you call it, bragging rights, doing a $25 million jet. That's cool on your social media, but there's a lot that goes into it. The insurance, the antennas. You gotta be careful for the antennas, all the flight equipment. If you're in the cockpit cleaning the flight equipment in there, you gotta be very careful. So if you're not trained to do it, I wouldn't recommend getting into it. And it's lucky for me that my contact in Utah, he flew down and he trained me at an FBO on some of the planes I'd be working on. So I had that training and knowledge from him. I just wasn't going in blindly cleaning charter jets.
Yeah, it's kind of funny how we we say things like, "Oh, it's fun to have that stuff on your social media," or like these like really nice cars on your social media, but oftentimes like that they can be the jobs that we actually don't want to do. Like I don't know if you find that with cars, but not always, but sometimes that's like the really nice cars that the guys are like they're so picky about them, um, that there's almost somewhat of a stereotype built up, and it's almost not even worth doing them sometimes. Like I have a conversation with every client that's interested in our services, and I try not to judge a book by its cover, because sometimes there's people that bring me a $5,000 job and end up paying $1,500 for a detail, and I'm totally surprised. And sometimes there's people that have just happened yesterday. There's a $200,000 Porsche, and the guy's not picky at all. He's like, man, he's like, I'm not going to be picky. Like, I'm not bothered by those little things that you're pointing out to me. I appreciate that you pointed out, but I'm not worried about it. And but it's sometimes it's the planes like you're talking about that it's cool to post it on your social media, but you don't really want to do more of those. So
Yeah, I learned that quick, man. Like it really, man, like, it's cool. They're fun to work on. Don't get me wrong. The smaller ones are fun to work on, but me being a one man show, I'm getting a bigger jet, and these charter planes they come in at night. You get the call at night, so you get it's kind of like being on call. So you never know when you can get to work, right? You never know when you can get to work, and they always come after hours. So you have between like 5 p.m. to 8 a.m. or whatever time they're going to depart the next morning. So you're out there working in the dark unless they have it in the hangar. You got to take all your lighting, your equipment. And if they want inside outside, then you're probably gonna be about 4 hours working in the dark or by yourself. So it's not like for me, like I said, I don't want to you know pursue it being known as the aircraft detailer, in which I know a couple guys in the aviation detailing aspect of detailing. Brett Berry, he's giving me a lot of tips and advice. He's a real cool guy. Got to hang out with him in his area in California, where we got to see Floyd Mayweather's plane came in for some work. I think he had sold it, so they were gonna like polish it, or whatever. And then at that time, P Diddy had just sold a plane to them, and we saw P Diddy's plane. So it's cool. There's a lot of cool like stories and stuff with these aircraft, the people that flown in them. But again, like me, being a one man guy, it's not for me.
well, let's talk about the automotive side of things a little bit. What does your day to day look like today? Like, are you doing a lot of maintenance details? Do you guys have like a certain revenue goal that you try to hit on a daily or weekly basis?
Yeah, so we call it maintenance. It's funny that I think I did a video about this maintenance, but we call it maintenance because we want to make it sound more than it is. But maintenance mainly like a car wash. But I do a lot of maintenance washes. Um, that's the bulk of my work since like year two and a half. A lot of maintenance details, which I have on my site as a mini detail. Pretty much exterior, interior wipe down, vacuum, quick in and out type of deal. Um, I have a lot of maintenance clients, probably close to, well, it's not a lot. It's a lot for me. Maybe about 50 maintenance clients where I'm doing monthly. Revenue goal, I daily, I like to be over 800 daily, which it's pretty common to get. I mean, two details, I'm at over 800, 1200 for two details. Or 5 to 6 maintenance washes, I'm pretty close to that $800 mark.
50 maintenance clients on a monthly basis is pretty good, man.
That's all right, man. So I have trouble talking about this, man, because I don't want people to think I'm lazy, but I did this job and I didn't know what this term was when I first started out, but to me, it's a lifestyle business. I want to work as much as I want to work, and that's it. Like I'm a Monday to Friday type of detailer. I like to be off. in
Hmm.
time to pick up my son from school. I drop him off every morning to school unless I'm out of town for something. I like that quality time with my family. Right now, my wife, she's a military contractor, so she's out of town a lot. So I need to make sure that I'm home with him. And luckily for me, I have this job where I can be there for him, dropping him off at school, picking him up, taking him to baseball. Because I don't know if I had a regular job, I'd be able to do all that, and if my wife would be able to leave out of town to do her stuff. If I had like a regular 9 to 5 job. But yeah, I mean, I could be working a lot more, man. I could be working more hours. I could be doing more work, but I choose to have the lifestyle I have, and I choose what I want to do when I want to do it.
Yeah. I was just talking about that on the episode I did with Bill. It's going live tomorrow on the 28th. And yeah, I was saying, like, man, when you get into this business, when you start your own car detailing business, um, you make it what you want. And if you want to be the guy doing the installs or the mobile detailing, then be that guy and do, you could build it up to like what you're doing now. Or if you want to try to build it up like Grant Menard and have a team of 20 guys working underneath you, then you can do that too. And of course, that sounds nice. I think everyone is like, oh, I want to be that. But, you really have to know yourself. And it's not to say that you can't learn something from Grant if you want to be more of the guy doing the detailing and really just have a small, lean and mean team. You can learn something from everyone. But I think it's really cool to hear, you that you know yourself and you know what you like, and you can still make a ton of money doing things yourself, without having to have the headache of hiring employees and dealing with all kinds of customers.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely in the future I see myself having a team. I mean, look at my hat. It says Team Revive. I'm already manifesting it. And you're right. You can learn a lot from guys like Grant Menard. That was a great podcast, man. And that's the reason why I like your podcast. You can learn from a lot of different people. A couple guys that I look up to in the industry are Mark. I hope I'm not saying his name wrong. Mark Barger. He's a solo operator in Illinois. He's probably making close to 500K, a year, just doing nothing but ceramic coatings by himself. One man show. And then Dave Fermani. He's another big time solo guy. I mean, but he's doing 101 Porsches, really, really rare stuff, man. So it gives me hope that I can eventually follow that path and be like them. We get a lot of people saying that, yeah, you got to scale, you have a big shop, PPF, stuff like that. But like that stuff doesn't really interest me. And I fell into that peer pressure trap, man, a few months ago. Yeah, back in February, felt like I got peer pressure. You're not a real shop, you're not a real detailer unless you do PPF. So, I mean, it's true, man. You see, they got me. I got sucker, man. They got me. So I got the plotter in the next room right here. I got the plotter. I went to optical training in Chicago. 3 days out there. I bought $3,000 worth of film, and we have only done one PPF install. Not because we're not promoting anything, but the guy I partnered up with, he got really badly injured. So he's still recovering for that. He was a trained and experienced PPF installer, and he was going to be doing all the PPF installs for me here in the garage. We bought the air purifier, better lighting,
Hmm.
race ramp, stuff like that to get the car higher, and got the plotter. And now we're not doing anything because I felt like I got peer pressured, man, into it. And so, yeah, I mean, I talked to other big shop owners, and they, I tell them my story, man. I tell them, like, sometimes I feel like I'm lazy, or people think I'm lazy because people tell me, hey, when are you going to get into a shop? When are you going to get into a shop? Like, I'm fine here. I mean, for the fact that I can't fit a big truck in here. Other than that, I like working from the home garage. I have it all painted and professional lighting all around. And I tell my story, like, hey, man, like, what do you think about this? Like, I don't want to be at your level. I don't want to be having 9 employees and have the stress that you have. I want to be able to take vacation when you want to. Like, yeah, man, just do it, man. Like if I had to do it again, like I would have a smaller shop or I would keep it small and lean. You know, it's like just keep doing what you're doing and don't listen to anyone else. And no one else is like paying your bills or or is in your shoes. So that helps a lot. But man, like I said, man, they got me with the peer pressure of wanting to do PPF.
Yeah, I think that's something that we all fall victim to is comparing ourselves to other people, and it seems like they've got it all figured out. You know, the guys that are doing PPF, man, they're making all the money, and then you realize pretty quickly how much money it costs in materials and how
Yeah,
much you just burn through, like in training, and then all that time you're spending doing PPF, you're not making money doing detailing.
yeah.
And so there's like a period, like if you want to learn it and you don't want to hire it out, and hiring it out, that's a whole nother problem in and of itself, to have to, take on that liability of paying someone, keeping them busy at the shop that has
Mm-hmm.
experience, and
Yeah.
then like promoting that and trying to really pick up the pace. Like that's a huge problem and requires a lot of money. But yeah, if you're doing it yourself, man, like, you've got to carve out 6 months or so to really like learn this thing. Um, and you may learn in that first few months that like this isn't for me, and that's okay. You tried it out, and doesn't mean you won't pick it back up. There's been guys I've had on that tried it out and then stopped and then picked it back up later.
Yeah, it's definitely. And I knew going in. I knew going in. I talked to a lot of people that I know that do PPF. I knew going in it was going to be hard, cost a lot of money. But I did the training. Like I didn't even have to do the training. I wanted to do the training because I wanted to be able to be knowledgeable in it and do some small stuff here and there. That way, when I talk to customers, I sound like I know what I'm talking about. And that's why I took the training. But I do plan on doing like smaller upsells, like what they call the high impact areas, the door guard, door cup, pillar, stuff like that. I need to start upselling that because that's a quick, 200, 250 upsell. That doesn't take that much time and it's not too hard to learn. I mean, edge guards are real simple, door cups are simple, pillars, stuff like that can bring you good 2, 350, in an upsell that I need to start doing.
Hmm.
Because that,
Yeah.
that that film's going to waste, man. And that plotter, I mean, all that's all for nothing if I don't start using it.
Yeah, but you can use it for window tinting in the future,
Yeah.
or if you want to get back into the PPF, like you'll find time, I'm sure, at some point to use it again.
Oh no, well, it definitely get used. No, I mean, I already got a few detail shops here in El Paso hitting me up for that plotter. I'm like, no, man, I'm gonna hold on to that for a minute and see where it goes from here. But yeah, I didn't really. I started talking about it a little bit, but I never really promoted it. I had a lot of clients that were ready to do it and give me their car and full
Hmm.
trust in that I can get the job done, which is pretty cool. That your clients trust you just doing a 3 day training to do a full front on their car. But it's pretty cool that I had trust in a few of my clients that were going to allow me to do that to their car
Now, were you
and pay.
transparent to them? Like, were you like,
Yeah,
hey, I just got
well,
out of training?
they knew. I mean, they knew because they knew because I posted on my stories. I have some people tell me that I post too much on my stories. Like they know everything I'm doing because I posted on my stories. But yeah, they knew from me posting that I'm in training and from the conversations we would have, like when I do detail their car or do maintenance in their car, I'll tell me I'm going to go to training and PPF. I'm going to be offering here pretty soon. Like, oh yeah, whenever you get back, let me know. And we'll book it.
Hmm.
But like I said, I always tell I had that guy though. I had that guy. He worked at Tint World. He worked at Tint World for like 3 years. He was their lead installer, so he knew tint and PPF. So we were going to do tint and PPF. But like I said, he got into a pretty bad accident, and he's still recovering from that now. So um, I told him I wasn't going to be doing it because I
Mm.
wasn't going to be doing it. I was going to be his helper if he needed help, like a hood or whatever. But primarily, that other gentleman was going to be doing the majority of the work, and that's why we were going to go in charging full price.
Quick side plug. I think that it's worth looking at disability insurance if you are a solo operator running your business and you're doing like hands on. Because if you lose your ability to perform your job daily, like the guy that you were that was going to be helping out with your PPF, then you can't make a living. You can't make an income, and that disability insurance is oftentimes fairly cheap. And I think that if you ever get injured, whether it's break a bone or can't do PPF, can't do window tint, it's really nice to have that to supplement your income.
No, 100%. I have three examples of people that got injured on job, and only one of them had the workers' comp. The gentleman that gives me the airplane work, he fell off a wing of an aircraft, broke his leg, was out of work for a month. And then I have a good friend out in Albuquerque, New Mexico. He got an infection on his finger, and he couldn't let it get wet. Even wearing gloves, sometimes you get water under your gloves, so he couldn't let that get infected more, run the risk of losing his finger. And I had another friend in California. Another detailer. He got in a bad mountain biking accident. Badly injured his face and concussion. He was out of work for some time too. So yeah, it's very important, to get that some type of workers' comp or disability to
Mm-hmm.
cover yourself. Like, that's a good point.
Yep, yep, and also having a like an emergency fund, like having some money saved up.
Yeah, oh, definitely. Yeah, and the guy with the worst injury, he's gonna be out for like a month, month and a half. And it just has a little a small infection on his finger that he can't get wet, so he can't do PPF, he can't do detailing. Luckily, he has his son helping him out, but he still can't do the higher paying jobs, So he's out for about a month for one small injury.
Hmm. I wanted to mention something else on that point of like learning a new skill, PPF for window tint. Um, Jared, one of my employees who's probably listening to this, he was like telling me that yesterday that he wants to learn some new services. And we went to window tint training back in February, March of this year. I mean, he was saying, that he's interested in like learning some new services here and there, and it's just expanding the services that he can offer. And I was just telling him like how hard it is on me as a business owner to 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 make that call, because every day that he's not doing detailing, which is what he knows and understands, or ceramic coatings or paint corrections, we're not making money, but I'm still having to pay him. So like usually when you go to school for something, you pay the school, you
Yeah.
pay to go to school. But now you're basically getting paid to go to school if you're working for me and I'm putting you through a training, and then you're spending time every week learning this new thing. And so it's obviously not impossible. I want to make it happen for everyone that works for us that wants to learn something new, but I want to be smart about it. And I really want to make sure after that window tint training, and we put everyone through that, I think one thing I learned is like, I really want to be a little bit more smart and strategic. And I want the guys to like really ask themselves, like, is this something that I'm going to be good at? Is this something like I really see myself doing? Am I going to commit to this? Or is this something that's just going to be kind of cool, kind of fun? Because if I'm going to send you to a 3-day training and spend $2,500 on that, and then you're not working for 3 days, so we're losing that cost. Plus, I'm still paying you a salary to go out there. Like, man, that's a lot of money.
No, that's a good point. And another thing too, I mean, once they get trained, they may not. It happens all the time, but they may want to go out on their own and do their own thing. They got you for the training, and they go out and do their own thing. But yeah, a prime example of that I know a detail shop. They sent their detailer to go to tint training, and he just couldn't grasp it. He couldn't get it. He couldn't do it. And I don't know how much they spent. It was a pretty good amount. But when he got back, he just couldn't get it. It just wasn't for him, and he ended up just going back to being a detailer. And the owner was out that money, travel, per diem, lodging, because he couldn't get it, and he just didn't like it too. I think because he didn't like it, he didn't want to like fully grasp it and want to learn it and master it.
Yeah, and that's okay. I don't mind. Um, you know, we you tried it out, you didn't like it. That's fine. we'll move on. It's more just I really want to be a little bit more strategic about it going in. Like, let's really ask ourselves, like, is this something that you feel like doing? Do you have you had any experience? Is there a way to maybe get some experience before we go to training? Maybe have someone that we know that we can just go and shadow or practice, or they can come out to the shop rather than sending you off to a 3-day training somewhere and you got to pay for hotel and food out and all that stuff. Just being a little bit more strategic instead of just like
Yeah,
dropping the money and doing it.
yeah, that's a good point, man. I wish I would have done that with the PPF. Like, I should have thought about going to tent before PPF. Like, everyone told me, like, why'd you do PPF first? Like, tent so much, you know, easier to get into than the PPF. Well, cost wise,
Mm-hmm.
the cost of film compared to the cost of PPF, it's a big difference in there. But no, good point on that, man. I mean, I wish I would have done that, strategically thought of that before I spent all that money to go out to the training and got the plotter and the film. So,
Yeah, and you could pick up on things too. Like there's personality test online. There should be like a test that someone makes to like learn what's your best skill set in the detailing world. Like, is it tint? Is it PPF? Is it coatings? And you really have to know yourself. Like I've got like our window tint installer. It's getting ready to come on full time. Like he's a good example where I feel like he would not be a good detailer. And even on PPF, like I don't think that he's as good on, but like on window tint, like he just crushes it. And many of the guys I've had on the podcast, they're like, yeah, if you do tint really well, then you probably aren't quite as good on PPF or vice versa. Like you
mhm.
really can only master one of the two. And he's a good example of that.
Yeah, I've seen that helping out Tint World. We have a Tint World here, and I helped them out a lot when they first started out. So I got to know their staff, and yeah, when they started out tinting, and then when they went to PPF, like their tinters were having a hard time, learning PPF, and their PPF installers weren't as great, until they went to the one guy installing all the PPF. So that's definitely true.
Yeah. And um, again, it's easy, I think, to compare yourself to other people and be like, well, they're getting into PPF. Well, I need to get into PPF. But you hear some of the guys I've had on the podcast that like are just staying in their lane. They're sticking with what they know, and they might keep an open mind. We might get into some other things at some point. But I always really enjoy talking to people that are just like they're staying in their lane. It's like I'm going to stay with what I know for right now. I may pivot at some point, but like we do this one thing really well, we're going to figure out how to scale that. And that might mean passing up PPF opportunities. And there's a lot of money to be made, but that's okay. We're not going to try to be masters in all these things. We're just going to stick with what we know.
Oh yeah, 100%, man. I mean, it again, I wish I would have had that mindset before. And in the beginning, I had that mindset too. I didn't do a coding job until maybe 6 to 8 months after I started, detailing. Just because I wanted to like master it. I mean, it might have been a little bit of procrastination, a little bit of scare, but I think I detailed in training and family cars. I ceramic coated 8 cars before I offered it to my clientele, just because I wanted to make sure that I had it down. Back then, and now I look at it, I kind of laugh because coding is not that hard. The coding part is not hard. It's all the prep work that goes into it. That's the time and the effort that goes into it. But yeah, I did that with coding, and I wish I would have had that mindset when I ventured into the PPF world. Start little and see if I was gonna like it or. But you live and learn, man.
Yeah, I don't know about you, but I also feel like when you get a little bit of money, then it's easy to be like, well, you can justify spending it on stuff like that. But man, that's also uh, like you could take some notes from Dave Ramsey's book when it comes to that, because there's something to be said about still being tight whenever you're starting to make a little bit of money. You got some money in the bank. Yeah, we could dump it into this, but that's when the problems start to come up. I've seen it happen. And you get a little comfortable and you start getting a little lax on what the car gets
Hmm.
spent on.
Yeah, yeah, 100%. Yeah, I feel like you know me too well, man. I definitely am that way. Yeah, I can get that, man. I got, yeah, we're good. Checking the account real quick. Yeah, order it, buy now. But
Yeah,
yeah,
it's I think it's really important to have a if you do struggle with that, to have a budget. Like look at where how much does your insurance cost? How much does your supplies cost? And then you can dive into that a little bit deeper. Look at like your supplies. It's like, man, we're spending $500 a month on like just like supplies that we want to try. We don't need that stuff. Like I know we're guilty of that. It's not
oh
500,
yeah,
but there's maybe $100 a month that gets spent on things that we don't need. We're just kind of trying out. And maybe you budget for a small research and development fund where you're trying out new things. But I think we can all agree that some of that stuff ends up being a waste. So I think having a budget, looking at what your expenses are, and then really being disciplined with that and sticking to that budget and capping it at that, uh, especially like when you're doing things kind of like yourself, or you've got a pretty small team. Um, that'll really help, like with being able to set aside money for retirement, be able to set aside money into like a money market account where you earn like 3-4% interest, and you can pull that out at any time. So it's more just like a short term savings, so that you can earn a little bit of interest, but ultimately so you could put that back into the business, to grow, whether it's for a shop or to go do PPF training at some point. But being disciplined with the budget, I think if you struggle with spending, I think that's really important.
yeah. Those are all good points, man. And I wish I someone would have told me this in the beginning. I mean, we all focused on a lot of us focus on the technical side of detailing, and most of us don't focus on the business side of detailing. And I feel if I did more of that in the beginning, business minded, marketing, sales, I'd probably be in a better off place than I am now. Because to me, I felt if I get all this training, I'm going to be the God's gift of detailing, and people are going to come running from the hills to get their car detailed by me. But that wasn't the case, man. I was in obscurity. No one knew who I was. I was getting referrals here and there, but still, that wasn't enough. It wasn't until I started marketing myself and getting on social media, and still, I don't do paid ads, but it wasn't until I got out there and put myself out there, and where I started making some decent money and able to support my family. And but again, like that needs to be that should be like a prerequisite, man. You should take some type of business training, sales training, marketing training, instead of all these, technical trainings.
Yes. Yeah. And then at some point, no one talks about this. At some point, you got to stop focusing on top line revenue quite as much. It's not that it's not important, but you got to start
Profit.
focusing on, yeah, your profit, what's your take
Yeah.
home, and what's your
Yeah.
expenses. Because like
Yeah.
I hear it a lot, and I understand the guys that are like they're growing, they're in growth mode, and they don't take home hardly anything. And
Mm-hmm.
at some point, you got to get disciplined, and you got to really ask yourself, it's like, man, I brought in 400K last year, but I made 40. It's like, okay, where something's got to give because this isn't sustainable. You know, there's a good book called Profit First that kind of talks about this
Is it
concept.
Mike, what's his name? Mike McCowitz or
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
something
yeah.
like that.
I have that
Did
in
you
my
read it?
Audible. I have it in my Audible, man. It's been recommended to me many times, and but I he has a few books out there that are pretty informative. But Profit First, you gotta have like 7 different bank accounts or something like that. And once I heard that, it kind of like threw me off. I'm like, I don't want to have 7 different bank accounts, man. I mean, how do you even have 7 different bank accounts? But I do
Grant
have it in
Min-
my Audible.
Grant
But
Menard does that. I'm pretty sure.
yeah, yeah, and I know another gentleman out in Oregon that does the same thing. He said it was a pain in the butt to get. He had a fight with his bank to do it, but he ended up doing it. He's a big proponent on that system, profit first.
Yeah, it's just like it's the mental things you've got to do to make the change, because we're dummies and our brains are stupid the way that they work. So it's like when I've got potato chips in the kitchen, I'm going to eat the whole bag. I can't
Yeah,
have I can't have one Oreo. I'm going to eat a whole sleeve. So I just can't keep them.
All
Can't keep
right.
them in the house, you know. So it's the same idea with the bank accounts.
100%, man. Yeah, I hear all these big numbers, and I learned this when I worked for that reconditioning company because I was the area manager. So every month we had to go over the numbers. You're having meetings, and that's when I learned like the profit's like the most important thing, man. You can make like have $1 million year business, but what's your profit, you know? And that's what I learned real quick. So right last year, and it was pretty good. I was pretty proud of it. I mean, we didn't make that much, but we were at 32% profit for last year. You know,
Is that
so I was
after your
pretty.
take home? Like, did you pay
Yeah,
yourself a little bit and then you still made
I pay
32?
myself very very little, man. Very very little. So yeah, this year I'm gonna pay myself more. And after all that, I want to be. Hopefully, we'll be at around 28% profit after all said and done. Um, I didn't make that much last year, man. I think let's go back to that. The first year I was negative 7,000. That was a big eye opener, man. Second year we were just peaked 80,000. Year three, 158. Year four, I mean, we had a couple bad months with weather here, man, where it was really slow. We had a lot of wind, a lot of rain. We get monsoon season here, and it was really bad this year, man, the weather. So being mobile, it kind of hurts that a little bit. So right now, I'm about 10,000 shy of where I was at last year. So I need to figure out how to make that up.
Hmm.
And my goal for uh, this year would be 200,000.
Start. So that's for 2025 or for
Yeah,
2020? Okay.
yeah,
I think that, well, you've already said that you're going to start ramping up the videos. So maybe that, especially going into the holiday season, if you can kind of maybe
yeah.
get
Well, we got what
strategic.
five months left. It's a big number to accomplish in 5 months. But that was a goal. And like I said, I mean, not making excuses, but we did have some bad weather, man. That the wind got really bad here, and it was like almost daily for a month and a half, and then monsoon after that. Right after that, monsoon season came, and being mobile. I know you were mobile, right,
Yep. Still
for
am
a little
to
bit.
some extent.
Yeah. So you know how it is. I mean, yeah, I have the shop here, but my thing is, if we got bad weather in the forecast, I don't want my clientele getting their car detailed, even if it's being done in the home garage, only to get rained on driving home.
Yeah.
I would hate for them to have to experience that. So I always offer them to, I give them the option if they want to proceed with the appointment or reschedule. Most of the time, they're rescheduling for weather because, who wants to pay all this amount of money to get their car detailed to drive home in the rain?
Yeah. I think you have to be careful though, because some people, they're not as picky. Like I've had people that are like, I just want you to get the dirt off, um, even though it's going to get wet. I need you to get the dirt off of it. It hasn't been professionally detailed in a long time. And so like there was a guy that I knew that lived in Oregon, and like it rains all the time up there. And he just proceeds as normal. He'd pop the canopy up in the middle of a rainstorm and be
I've
washing
seen
the
people do
washing the
it. Yeah,
car under that. So I think
yeah,
people
no,
understand that, like, hey, this is your living. Like if you just always cancel, reschedule, then you're kind of hurting yourself.
yeah, you're right, man. I feel I kind of shot myself in the foot with that. I have my clients trained too well now. Now they have like multiple weather apps like me. I have like three weather apps, man. And if two out of the three show we're gonna have some inclement weather, then I'm sending them a text and the option to proceed with the appointment or reschedule it. So yeah, you're right. I mean, I did like I trained them too well now where they're checking the weather and they don't want their car, detailed and then get rained on in a couple of days. So um, yeah, I don't know. To me, I don't know how I feel about that, man. I wouldn't be happy. To me, I wouldn't be happy getting my car detailed, paying whatever, and being rained on a couple of days. I would appreciate the detail. Hey, we got some inclement weather coming up. You're spending this amount. Would you want to reschedule or keep it?
Yeah.
That's why I give them the option, man. I mean, it's
Could you
about.
always ask for like an interior only? Like if they were just want to do an interior only?
Um, I One of my buddies brought that up too, and I don't. I really don't. Because most of these cars I'm doing, their interior is not even that bad. It's the exterior that needs to work. I clean a lot of. what do you call them? Dirty clean cars. Like they're not dirty, man. They're not bad. So I don't. Maybe I should. Maybe start offering them that.
Yeah, or even like a I don't know, just like a slight discount or something. I mean, there's other guys that have this issue, and I know that there's ways around it and solutions, and um, yeah, I mean, it's something that we struggle with too. There's definitely some people that are like, hey, I think we're just going to hold off on doing the outside today because it's going to rain. But as long as we could do something, make a little bit of income, at least you made something.
Yeah, I'll definitely start giving them the option to do that because you're right, and something's better than nothing.
Mm-hmm. Um, so you guys you're going to try to do 200K this year. That's kind of the goal.
That was a goal, man. Honestly, it 5 months to do that. It's gonna be tough, dude.
Only four.
Well,
It's at the end
it's
of.
not gonna happen. If that was a goal in the beginning, it's not gonna happen. I mean, 5 months is. I mean,
There's only 4 months left. September,
there's
October,
four. Oh,
November, December.
yeah, 4 months. Yeah, so four. Yeah, that was a goal in the beginning. Maybe they're you know a little high, but I mean, I feel like you always gotta set your goals a little bit higher. But probably not gonna happen. Most likely won't gonna happen. That was the goal in the beginning of the year to get to that mark.
Yeah, I stopped setting revenue goals. I have them like loosely, but I try to set goals more based on what I can control because I can't control the revenue.
Right.
Um, but what we can control is the variables that get to the revenue. So I can control the price of the detail, which is one goal, and then I can't control how many people book, but what I can do is I can control the content that I put out and the emails that I send out and the text messages and reduce cancellations by trying to follow up more and sending more reminders. These are the things I can control. And so, you focus on those variables and I think the revenue will come.
Oh no, I like that. I mean, that's why I love your podcast, man. You have so much good nuggets out there that you put out there, and I never looked at it in that fashion, but you can everything you said you can control, and but put a little bit of effort into that. It definitely will bring more revenue.
I think one of the main things we all neglect in every business, not just car detailing, is your past customers. Like we always are looking for
The
the
new
new
one,
people and we fail to
yeah.
realize that like all these people. And I mean, that was like the biggest take home nugget that I got from the Grant Menard podcast, other than like building an experience. But right there with that is like building an experience for the people that are doing business with you today, that are the returning customers, and let them
Right.
bring in the referrals. And then if they can come back one more, I mean, think if all of your customers, if you could get 10% of those customers to come in one more time per year, like how much more revenue would that be? So like
hmm
you don't neglect the people that have done business with you and forget about them. Like those are the people that we should be spending the most time on.
No, you're absolutely right, man. And I've been doing well. I've been doing it, but I've been doing it when it kind of slowed down. I'll reach out to past clients, but I feel I should be doing it all the time, reaching out. Like I think what's his name? Detail of Sarasota,
Yeah,
or
Adam.
he'll just reach out to his client and like, hey, how you doing? I'm in the area, just want to say hi. I like that. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, he was great.
I'll do that to some of my clients that I have a better relationship. Hey, man, I was in your area, saw your mom. Like yesterday, I was at the Porsche dealership and I saw one of my clients' moms, his mom there at the Porsche dealership. We talked a little bit, and I reached out to him like, "Hey, man, I just saw your mom at the Porsche dealership. What's going on with their car?" And we talked for a little bit, and like, yeah, can you book me for, he has 5 cars. Book me for the cars next week, and I'm like, I got you. But yeah, I need to be doing more of that, man. I feel that's where I'm lacking too with the your clients that already had gave you their money, and they like you and they want to continue. Because a lot of the times the life happens and they just forget,
Mm-hmm.
and you got to remind them, hey, I'm here to help you, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, it's always surprised me by the people that are like, man, I've been trying to contact you, or I've been thinking about contacting you for the last 3 months, but just it hasn't been like convenient. And so if you were to have like sent that text message, they could have clicked on it one night. um, and book their detail. Like they might have booked 3 months earlier.
Yeah. Are you doing any type of email text marketing?
Yeah, I do. I usually send out like a marketing email to my entire contact list once a month with like something like our best wax, or here's like tips on this, or like here's a little special that we're running. I've got emails set up for everyone's birthday. So everyone gets asked what's their birthday. And then on their birthday month, they get sent, or their birthday week, they get sent a like $25 off coupon. I send everyone a reminder 3 months after their detail that says, "Hey, we miss you.
Yeah.
Um, check out our schedule if you want to book your next detail." I send out a 24-hour message after they've had their detail done that ask for feedback. So, so yeah, we definitely have increased that since one of my clients, who's a marketing business owner, he was hammering on that. He's like, "Man, you're leaving so much money on the table by not following up with these people more."
Was that what's his name? Stephen Lee? Is that Stephen Lee you're talking about, or another one? Or
No, that's actually Steven's great, but no, this is actually one of my customers
okay,
that owns a
got you. Yeah.
marketing agency, and he said it because like he relates, or he is one of those people that's like, "Man, I needed my car detailed a month ago, but one thing just got in front of the other and I forgot. But if you would have been sending out emails, text messages, I definitely would have booked sooner."
And you doing it once a month, or how? What's your frequency on that?
Well, so they get the reminder email every 3 months, and then I send out like a just kind of like a general email once a month that just kind of like a educational, informational um, email.
What
Uh,
are you using for that? Constant Contact, Mailchimp, or is
I
it
use
something?
Square. I do everything
Square?
through
Okay.
Square for the most part.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I know you're able. They have some type of text feature now, but there's like a glitch. Not a glitch, but they have to opt into it, otherwise they don't get it anymore. So I might try the you're able path and see how that works.
Yeah, I think that it was a whole legal thing with the text message marketing. I think that the government passed some laws to where you have to require people to opt in. You can't just
Opt in.
send
Yeah,
people
change
text.
spam them. Yeah, 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 yeah. I'm definitely gonna give that a shot, man. I mean, that's all good points that you bring up, and
But
it's
the
just
email's
like I
free.
said,
You don't have to. You don't have to. Everyone that's done business with you, you should have their email, and
the email.
and
Yeah,
you can be able to do
yeah,
that.
yeah. Go that route. I mean, that was actually on my to do list to do, you know, this year. But again, I got complacent, man. I got complacent where I wasn't having to go look for work anymore. The work was coming to me. The word of mouth referral, they were just all coming in. I wasn't having to, like year one, having to look for the work. It was just coming to me. So for me, I felt I got complacent, man, and just, wasn't trying to grow it anymore. And I think you had that podcast with was it Adam Padilla or
Rapidia,
the guy? Who?
Rapidia.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. Yeah, where he talks about not losing that day one drive.
Yeah.
And I lost it, man. And I need to get it back and get back to it.
Well, I could see that you're doing a lot of things right, and I'm excited to see how the rest of the year goes. Um, Let me know if you ever want someone just to bounce ideas off of. I'm happy to talk
Yeah,
with
for
you.
sure. Yeah, I love that, man.
Well, this was great, Anthony. I appreciate you coming on, dude. Probably going to call it there. I know that we both got work to do.
All right. Yep. Yeah, thanks for having me, man. I appreciate it.
Of course, dude. Love to have you back anytime.
Okay.
All right, man. Thanks everyone for listening.